Welcome back to LEGO Wars and our annual end-of-year Grudge match special. Somehow, after 180 plus fights from the main series, some of our robots are still after more action in the arena, and while I certainly need a good long nap, I'm not going to stop them from fighting, so let's crack on with the action. First up, it's 3 glass cannons that scored a combined total of 3 points between them, so the judges are sure to get a fight off.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
Away we go then for our Grudge matches of LEGO Wars Series 5. These 3 between them picked up a miserly 3 points in LEGO Wars Series 5. 2 for Harold, 1 for Polymorph, and nothing for Annie. Are you okay? But over goes Harold immediately. The weapon has been ripped asunder as it has been on numerous occasions, and I think that could be that for Harold because their kind of support mech at the front has also been split, look. And I don't think it can run upside down in that configuration. I think that could be that for Harold. Annie, of course, as I said, got no points in LEGO Wars Series 5. This is probably going to be their last ever fight in LEGO Wars, barring some massive turnaround. So we will bid farewell to Annie after this fight from the arena. It's been a plucky underdog and a fun robot in the arena, but lacking that ultimate firepower to take it any further than that in terms of the hierarchy of LEGO Wars. Polymorph in its first series had a tough heat, did manage to get a point on the board. It is an unusual design that certainly could be a lot of fun later on, and Annie snipes a wheel though, and that can be all kinds of issues now for Polymorph. We saw in the heats of LEGO Wars, in the final heat of course, it was a pain in the backside to control at the best of times, and Annie, on its final appearance, we think, in the LEGO Wars arena, is looking pretty good here. Polymorph has all kinds of problems driving around the arena currently. Can they get away from the peril that is Annie? Are you okay at the moment? I think they are okay, Annie. They are very, very happy with their final run out in the arena. The shed door opens behind those beautiful legs, but in the arena, crucially, Annie has done the damage on Polymorph, and Polymorph isn't really, well, it is getting out of its circumference, isn't it? But over goes Annie after colliding with the wedges of Polymorph. Polymorph still rolling and running, but Annie, are you okay? Turned over, surely not like this. Oh, Annie, it was looking so good for a final fight victory, but I don't think it's going to happen. They're being counted out, but so is Polymorph. They're both being counted down and out, and it's going to go to the judges, I think, to decide the winner out of these two.
Six.
Oh no, Annie got moving right at the end, but they were counted down and out, immobilised. We're going to go to our panel of judges for the result. Well, Harold's participation in this fight was kind of over before it really began. A single attack there from Polymorph was really all it took to get rid of the threat of Harold in the arena. They were turned over and eliminated shortly after that, and from then on in it was Annie and Polymorph going head to head. The weapon of Annie, are you okay, claiming a victim in the rear wheel of Polymorph, but Polymorph were able to get back into the fight and turn Annie over, where they stayed high centered right till the very end of the fight.
And the winner, by unanimous decision, is Annie. Well, at least everybody knows now why the screws broke on the final day of recording, as Annie outlasts the rookies to win what is surely the swan song fight in the arena. Now it's 2 cornerstones of the UK live scene continuing their rivalry into LEGO Wars as Pegasus takes on Thumper.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
Away we go then for our second fight of the night. 2 live scene stalwarts in Pegasus in the white and blue, and Thumper in the grey and orange, and immediately damage sustained there by Pegasus. I'm told very reliably that in the live scene normally, Pegasus is the one that comes out on top more often than not. We saw that pedigree in the main competition of LEGO Wars this time around, making it to the round of 16, losing out to eventual runners-up Duck. Thumper, meanwhile, went out in the round of 32, losing to eventual champions Slammo, would you believe? So both these two lost to a finalist en route to their runs to the final. And Pegasus once again stuck on its rear end, and I think that needs readjusting and rethinking and redesigning for next series, because it's happened more than once, hasn't it, in LEGO Wars Series 5, getting stuck on its rear end like that, and it's unable to drive away. And Thumper here has victory in its sights, and he's going to stand off and let Pegasus just get counted out. No! Ah, we love that. you know, in the spirit of things, it is a grudge match special. It's not the main competition. If it was the main competition, maybe they'd leave them alone, but not on this occasion. It is a grudge match special. It's all for fun. It's all for pride and bragging rights in the arena, and that is what we love to see. Freeing their opponent for more wanton destruction. That is what we're going to get, I'm sure, with the drum of Thumper. Thumper's drum has now stopped, however. It needs to get it back up and running once again by backing up into the wall like that. There we go, drum spinning, but it's stuck on the spikes, and the spikes claim a little bit of Pegasus to boot. Look at that. That rear end of Pegasus has been shredded a little bit, and now I wonder, will it be as effective as it once was? Pegasus is also, you can see there, that wheel on the right hand side of your picture as you look at it is now bent and buckled and is not running happily, is it? It's kind of disconnected itself. It's kind of dragging along the floor and it's not translating happily now, is it, Pegasus? Thumper here have it all under control, and you'd like to think they'd probably be able to capitalise and turn this into a victory, wouldn't you? But Pegasus is a very tricky customer to deal with, but that flipper has not been working throughout this fight as they would have liked it, and Thumper can come in now, use the drum spinner, try and cause more damage, and try and secure a famous victory over Pegasus, who is a good robot. There's a good flip from Pegasus, but it just rights Thumper the right way. And Thumper now back up to speed once again and pushing Pegasus towards the pit and down the pit! And down goes Pegasus! Thumper gets the victory over their live scene rivals. Good result for Thumper. Oh, there goes the wheel. There goes the wheel. Brilliant stuff. Well, two opponents who know each other very, very well, and in the end it was Thumper that came out on top. A bit of a turn up for the books in terms of form between the two. They did manage to get a number of shots off on Pegasus whilst it was stuck on its back, and that is a recurring issue that they need to fix going forward for LEGO Wars, I fear. And in the end, Pegasus, while they did get some flips off, they did suffer terminal damage on that one wheel and motor, didn't it? And in the end, Thumper was able to push it down the pit.
Pegasus has its signature drive pod ejection, gifting Thumper the win as we'll move on to fight Free of the Night and the Veterans Atlas after another grudge match brawl, this time against Monsoon.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Off we go then for fight number 3 of the night. Atlas taking on Monsoon in the clash of the English, or quintessentially English robots. It is kind of quintessentially English, isn't it? You know, you've got the tracked lifter of Atlas, which is very, very kind of slow and ponderous these days in terms of the general direction of the field for LEGO Wars. And Monsoon, who, okay, on their day, very potentially destructive, but has to be said, they had a pretty poor LEGO Wars, didn't they? They went out in their heats, their drive pods kept coming away. When that weapon does connect, it is pretty brutal, and as you saw there, can cause problems. But that bucket scoop of Atlas, very good at deflecting said weapons. Atlas, of course, made it all the way to the round of 32. Were ranked as the 4th seed for the bracket, weren't they, Atlas? They won their heat in some style, has to be said, finishing on 10 points out of a possible 12. And in the end, they were only in the competition, in the bracket at least, for one round. They were knocked out by a playing robot in the form of Chompy. Atlas will be hoping they can put those gremlins and doubts behind them and take on Monsoon, who are looking for some retribution after their own poor LEGO Wars Series 5. Have to say, folks, this one really isn't getting the old heart rate up, is it? It's ponderous, it's slow, and Monsoon's weapon isn't really grinding up through the gears as we'd hope. Atlas, as we know, is a very methodical and sluggish and well-controlled robot, has to be said, but it's not the most exciting robot in the arena. Monsoon struggling to get that weapon into play and cause any major issues. Good push by Monsoon on Atlas into the corner. Atlas gets away at the speed of molasses, it has to be said. It's being poked by the spikes in the arena. Eventually it's going to get away. Come on, Atlas. You can do it. Come on. Come on. Jesus Christ. Get on with it! Go! Get into each other! Hit each other! That's it, Monsoon! Finally! We've been waiting for some actual interesting action in the fight. We finally got some. Monsoon came in on the attack and has split one of the tracks of Atlas. Thank you. Well done. Now do the other side. Or is Monsoon having thermal cutout issues? It probably is. Monsoon struggling to translate. Atlas down to one track. This is absolutely one for the purists. This is. Look at this. This is dreadful. It really is. It's not a classic, certainly. Guys, this is... Oh, I don't know what to say. Oh, there goes the other track of Atlas. Well, it's not going to get counted out. It's going to survive and limp to the judges. But my goodness me, it was not a classic. Monsoon, I think, is just about done enough, but a poor showing from both. Let's hand it to the judges. So after 3 or 4 coffees, I finally woken up enough to tell you about this fight, and my goodness me, it was a drag, wasn't it? Not a great performance from either of these two, both with a lot to think about during the off-season before LEGO Wars Series 6. Monsoon, I think, just about did enough by causing the damage that rendered Atlas immobilised right at the end, but my goodness me, it was a poor showing from both, wasn't it?
And the winner, by unanimous decision, is Monsoon. Monsoon labours to the win against Atlas, but there's a lot of work to do under the hood for them before Series 6. Back in present day, it's our second rumble of the night between 3 robots that failed to make the bracket this series: Kato, New York Slice and Bishop.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Off we go then for fight number 4 and rumble number 2 of the night. Kato, Nemoidia, New York Slice and Bishop, of course. Bishop impressed everyone with their fancy, I think it's Kiwi drive. I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. New York Slice, in their debut campaign in LEGO Wars, made it all the way to the play-ins, only to lose out in the end to former champions Waddle Dee Meta, so no disgrace there. Kato, Nemoidia, meanwhile, they lost in their heats, if you remember, all the way back to Heat K. Disintegrated in the end, it was, by Flashover Delta, but it did manage to get a win over the other seed in that heat, which was Switchback. Kato, down comes the hammer, looking a little bit sluggish, has to be said, the hammer of Kato Nemoidia, especially when you look at the hammer of Bishop, who, as I said, impressed quite a lot of people. They didn't do that well in their heats, Bishop, but the weapon on Bishop is a pretty damn powerful one when it comes into contact, and it's a lot of fun to watch go around the arena. New York Slice struggling to get away from Kato at the moment. Kato pins them into the pit button. Pit button wasn't activated just yet. Down comes the hammer of Bishop once again and again, just smacking down on Kato Nemoidia. And Kato here, wow, maybe they're showing their age too. Mentioned earlier on about robots showing their age. This is another one maybe. Kato maybe need to look at something over the off-season. Off comes the pit button via New York Slice. New York Slice struggling to get that weapon up to speed at the moment. Have they got a problem with the weapon? They're trying to hit the pit button, but it's just not going down, lads. What are you going to do? Bishop. Down comes the hammer once again. The pit button has kind of been activated. It's kind of half open. New York Slice tries to bail out and just drive down the pit itself. Avoids that just about, and it's skirting and flirting with danger, isn't it? New York Slice trying to go down the pit and call it a day for their series. They've had enough, I think. Kato Nemoidia backs up and lets the other two fight each other for a second, and there goes the pit now fully down, and Kato Nemoidia caught on the very lip of the pit but just about gets away. Good driving from Kato. That's not the first time we've said that over the years. But I'd have to say, in this fight here, we've seen a golfing class, haven't we, between the two hammers. And the new kid on the block, Bishop, looks like a bit of a thorn in their side. And Kato Nemoidia on the very lip of the pit, and he's down the pit. I wonder if that'll be the last we see of Kato in this format, because that was a masterclass from Bishop. And now, the New York Slice weapon is back up to speed once again. And can they push Bishop down the pit? Bishop close to the very lip of the pit, but can't get them down because Kato, who is already down the pit, is blocking their path. New York Slice have finally come to life within the last sort of 20 seconds of the fight, but will it be enough? Or have Bishop done enough throughout the fight to accrue enough points? It goes to the judges. Good fight in the end. Bishop, once again, looking very impressive. There comes a time in every athlete's life when they realise they are not the top dog anymore. And maybe that could have happened in this fight for Kato Nemoidia, because, I mean, if you look at their weapon power and effectiveness, there is only one true winner here, and that is Bishop relative to the two axes. And whilst, New York Slice were in the fight on occasion, their weapon effectiveness was limited throughout the match, and they weren't really able to get a massive hit off like they would have hoped.
And the winner, by unanimous decision, is Bishop. The Kiwi Drive machine makes amends for their collapse in the heats to bring home another win. Now it's our first World Champs Panic doing their utmost to keep their top panel together as they take on Disgruntled Guardian.
David, can I have a word for a second?
Oh joy, Sam's on his union mandated break. Now, I might be mad enough to spend half my year editing these videos, but messing with a union? No thank you. My kneecaps haven't been the same since the last incident. Bear with us everybody, I'm going to wrangle a commentator from the sofa cushions.
3:28 a.m.
Right, let's load up that plate. Hello? Oh, David, how's it going? What? Sam's union's kicked in. You need someone to do commentary for you? But I was about to load up a plate. Yeah, alright, fine. Jesus Christ, things I do for friends. Wait a minute. Why does Sam have a union?
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
It's good to be back in the commentary booth for this brilliant grudge battle between the Disgruntled Guardian and Panic Attack. Old versus new, I guess you could say, in the LEGO Wars arena. And at the moment, new showing the old what for. There, Disgruntled Guardian pinning Panic Attack into the corner and bringing the hammer down. It's the perfect shape for a hammer like Disgruntled Guardians to attack, and some damage has already been done there to the top of Panic Attack. Disgruntled Guardian, oh, one of the eyes hasn't been put back on properly. Come on guys, what's going on? Why haven't you put that back on properly? Even with that slight issue though, they seem to certainly be in the lead at the moment. More damage being done to the top of Panic Attack, caving in that top lid. Is that serious damage or is it superficial? I think it's superficial at the moment. And oh! One of Disgruntled Guardian's eyes has gone a bit wonky and has come off completely now. Well, fantastic. So now it's a Cyclops in the LEGO Wars arena. Even so, with that slight hindrance, they're still well on top at the moment. Panic Attack pushing them back, though. Now, Panic Attack, they're the ones who wanted revenge here, don't forget. They felt that they were unlucky to lose in the heat due to judges' decisions going up against them. Meanwhile, the Disgruntled Guardian didn't perform as well as it could have in the round of 32. Panic Attack think they should have got that spot instead, and therefore, they want the rematch right here, right now. Although at the moment, they're all talking no trousers, in my opinion, because Disgruntled Guardian have certainly done more damage, and therefore their weapon has been the more effective. We need to see those lifting forks of Panic Attack come in and get underneath Disgruntled Guardian. Maybe carry it to the pit. Maybe carry it around the arena to the spikes. Who knows? It's those kind of tactics, remember, that got Panic Attack the first LEGO Wars Championship. They're a former All-Stars champion as well, don't forget. A highly decorated machine in the LEGO Wars arena. But it's getting a little bit old, like I said earlier on in this battle. Disgruntled Guardian, a completely new machine. Like I said in their debut series, a minute to the round of 32. That's nothing to be sneezed at. It is a very, very good machine. But Panic Attack now underneath the front wedge. But Disgruntled Guardian able to get off it before they could use those lifting forks. That could be a key issue with Panic Attack. Its weaponry isn't the fastest of weaponry. As you saw there, that little lift of theirs, it wasn't the quickest. And the robots are getting so much more quicker and so much more agile these days. Not to mention much more deadlier and destructive. Panic Attack has taken some serious damage in this fight. Remember, it's not damage that's the category, but weapon effectiveness at the moment. Disgruntled Guardian's winning that in spades, but the pit button's been pressed now by Panic Attack, so they must be confident now that they can get the Disgruntled Guardian down into the abyss. Being pushed back there, though, by Disgruntled Guardian, which seems to have the superior pushing power, the superior ground game, and the superior weaponry as well. What can Panic Attack do here? They are desperate to get their revenge, but they're into the final 10 seconds, and for me, this has all been Disgruntled Guardian. Although a last late-minute attack there from Panic Attack, will that be enough to sway it their way? Oh, I don't know. A victory spin there for Panic Attack, but I think they might be in over their heads here. For me, Disgruntled Guardian was by far the better controlled machine, managing to get underneath Panic Attack and outmaneuver them several times. But the main story is the weapon effectiveness. Look how powerful that hammer is, just smashing the top plate of Panic Attack over and over and over again. Yes, Panic Attack got a few pushes in. Yes, they got underneath a couple of times, but they couldn't take advantage of that. And for me, it's Disgruntled Guardian.
And the winner, by unanimous decision, is Disgruntled Guardian. It's good to hear from the boy again on the comms, even if Guardian did decide to fumble on its way to victory. We'll hear from Anderson again later tonight as Sam clocks back in for a fight between two underachievers this series, Whitehole and Switchback.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Good to have Anderson back, isn't it? We'll hear more from him later on, but in the meantime we have two robots here who should have done a lot better in LEGO Wars Series 5. Switchback and Whitehole, both these two in their respective heats came bottom and last. It's a bit of a shock, especially in Switchback's case, because of course they were a former quarter-finalist. They'll be hoping to kind of rectify that and build a bit of momentum going into the off-season for LEGO Wars Series 6. I have to say, Switchback has one little grey piece on the back of the robot. You'll see it in a minute. There it is in the back. Whitehole's also damaged Switchback, by the way. That little grey piece right in the middle of the robot. It looks like a screaming face. In the comments if you see it, because it's distracting me, certainly. Whitehole, Switchback has opened the pit button. Whitehole has already damaged the beta bar of Switchback, and Switchback trying to get that lifter in underneath, doesn't quite manage it. Switchback lifts the lifter vertically now. Can it bring the weapon maybe down on top of Whitehole? Whitehole up to speed, but being harassed and closed down by Switchback. Switchback now turns into rear attack mode. More damage sustained to Switchback, though that armor panel, look at the side, has been pulled away from the side of the robot. It's struggling to turn. Look, they're not really able to translate as they would have liked. And there goes the other side. Look at that. Massive impact from Whitehole. We know the damage potential it has. And Switchback here, I don't know what they're trying to do, but they're ending up going to drive down the pit if they're not careful. Switchback are struggling to turn, and they've just driven
6.
straight down the pit. That's an awful bit of driving from Switchback. And Whitehole is your winner in very relative ease. Well, I know that LEGO Wars Series 5 wasn't the most easy time for Switchback, but turning to drink before the Grudge matches is a bit extreme, maybe. I'm not entirely sure what was going on with them, but at the start I thought they looked alright, but with the beta bar off balance from the get-go, really, Whitehole's damage potential is certainly still evident there. Switchback just drove straight down the pit, and Whitehole spun in delight.
With the drive failing on Switchback once more, it's Whitehole ending another disappointing year with a win. Next up, it's another rumble in the LEGO Wars arena and a big bag on standby as Scarlet Serpent is back in action against former finalist Emulator and rookies Cowtles.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Off we go then for Rumble number 3 of the night and fight number 7 of the night. Scarlet Serpent having a rematch against Cowtles as they fought in the planes, don't forget, of LEGO Wars Series 5. Emulator being thrown in there because why not? Emulator's great and has so much damage potential. We didn't really get to see all of it in LEGO Wars Series 5 as they went out in the round of 32 to, I believe, Salantifrog, wasn't it? In a bit of a shock upset. They got immobilised and that was the end of their run. Cowtles beat Scarlet Serpent in the fight in the play-ins via the JD, and they were eliminated from getting into the bracket by Flashover Delta. No disgrace there. Scarlet Serpent trying to get that jaw into play very carefully, but they've had the tip of their nose broken and ripped away by Emulator. We know the damage potential that Emulator has. It's so destructive, and that is big problems now for Scarlet Serpent. Cowtles under pressure from Emulator as well. That weapon of Cowtles can cause problems too. No mini milk in this fight, of course, because I mean we're lacking controllers as it is. We can't. I don't think you can actually run more than 3 robots in the arena at once. So all kinds of signals will be having issues there. So no Cowtles and mini milk combo work, but we do have Cowtles nonetheless. Emulator comes on the attack, trying to cause damage to the wheels of Cowtles. Emulator face to face with Cowtles. There goes the weapon of Cowtles, trying to bring it round to the side and maybe snipe one of those tracks of Emulator. They are possible to be gotten at, but not thus far they're not. Emulator, oh, that was a bit risky, but didn't have the momentum of the weapon, did it? Cowtles gets away. Scarlet Serpent in the fight as well, kind of bumping and nudging Emulator. Emulator can't really get its own weapon into play because the reach of the weapon is a little bit lacking. Let's say that much. They can't really get that tooth into play, and there, oh, and down it comes on top of the head of Scarlet Serpent. Scarlet Serpent pushing back on Emulator. Emulator up to speed once more. Can it get that weapon into play? It's kind of bumping and nudging the wheel of Cowl Tools, but not really doing anything with it. Pit burn activated via the split screen effect there from Scarlet Serpent. Thank you once again, Editor David, for that one. Emulator, excuse me, Emulator. Now face to face with Scarlet Serpent. Scarlet Serpent, well, we've seen that head explode a couple of times over the years, but Emulator hasn't done it in this fight. We were hoping it would do. Cowl Tools now caught on the front of Emulator. Emulator's weapon not up to speed currently, and there goes one of the tracks, look, of Emulator. Cowl Tools must have gotten it at some point. I didn't see it, and the other track as well has come off of Emulator via Scarlet Serpent, and Emulator is now a sitting duck. Is it going to last to the judges? I think it is just about. I think Cowl Tools is also high centered or has an issue, so it can't translate. Scarlet Serpent is the one still rocking and rolling. It goes to time, and the judges. Key takeaways for me in this fight: the reach of Emulator was not sufficient really to get into either Cowl Tools or Scarlet Serpent, and as a result struggled really to cause the major damage that we're used to seeing, especially if they couldn't get in underneath with the forks like they did in this fight. Cowl Tools as well struggled a little bit throughout with its weapon effectiveness, which allows Scarlet Serpent, in my opinion, to come out a surprise winner, being the most effective robot of the three.
And somehow, the winner by unanimous decision is Scarlet Serpent. Well, turns out we didn't even need that bag, as Serpent gets an aggressive nose job and still does more than its spinner opponents to take home the win. While Cowl Tools and Emulator skulk off to think damaging thoughts, we at least have a robot that's dished out loads this series, Mr. Waffle, back in the arena against known morning hater Bop.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Away we go then. Bop takes on Mr. Waffle. The Bacon Blade returns to the arena, and there, oh my goodness me! Well, the hammerhead of Bop has not only been broken off, it's been snapped. Look, the weapon shaft of Bop has been snapped clean there. That is huge damage from Mr. Waffle. We know it has got killing potential in that Bacon Blade these days. Of course, it was a runner-up in International. It had the second seeding for the bracket, didn't it, as well? If you remember, for LEGO Wars Series 5, it lost a flashover there. No disgrace in that, but they've just completely ripped off Bop's hammerhead. Bop, of course, went out in the heats, coming last in Heat E in the rookie heat. Mr. Waffle winning its heat, winning Heat M, the penultimate heat of the series, and Mr. Waffle has really had a massive leap forward, hasn't it, in LEGO Wars Series 5? That weapon is very dangerous and potent, well, when it stays on the robots. Well, that's kind of the commentator's curse for you. Off comes the hammerhead of Bop, off comes the Bacon Blade of Mr. Waffle. Bop now using its sort of hammer shaft as a as a lifter. Off comes one of the armor panels of Mr. Waffle, and it's actually high-centered Mr. Waffle here. Bop has inadvertently kind of pinned its opponent on its own armor panel. That's amazing. Brilliant driving from Bop, pushing Mr. Waffle back onto the floor spikes, and still high-centered is Mr. Waffle. Gets a nudge from Bop. Bop gets away and retreats and circles back again. Mr. Waffle, we know, does have good pushing power. Will they be hoping to maybe push Bop down the pit, I wonder? There's the kind of hammer shaft of Bop still being used as a sort of proto-lifter. The spikes are having an absolute field day, trying to munch away on that delicious, sugary waffle goodness. Mr. Waffle pushing back on Bop. Bop trying to get that lifter, proto-hammer head, hammer shaft thing into play again and just kind of disrupt Mr. Waffle. Good push back from the breakfast bot. And Bop mounts Mr. Waffle once again, spinning the little central stump of the weapon. Still, Mr. Waffle, not really to much effect, but hey, it's showing aggression, I guess, right? It's showing aggression. Mr. Waffle being inexorably pushed back towards the pit, though, by Bop. Can Bop pull off a famous win here? It didn't get any knockouts to exceed, and now does. Down the pit goes Mr. Waffle. Well, some enormous damage right from the get-go. Bop's hammerhead completely torn apart, and indeed did snap the weapon shaft rather than it just coming off, so that'll be a expensive repair bill for them. and Mr. Waffle did cause more damage to Bot, but the Bacon Blade didn't last too much longer than the Hammerhead. So again, maybe work to be done in the off-season for Mr. Waffle to kind of make sure that doesn't happen too often again. Bop in the end, a good drive down the pit with Mr. Waffle.
That's another axe arm sheared by Waffle, but they got outpushed for once by the faceless Bot, giving the X Gang another win tonight. The arena has been cleaned up ahead of another messy fight as Sam takes his other break, so Anderson will have to deal with whatever the hell is going to happen between Bolts, Chomp and Nightmare.
Robot ears, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
3 mental spinners, 1 arena. Who will win? Let's find out as all 3 machines spinning up to speed here. Look there at the speed of all these guys. Bolts doesn't have Hangry to help it out in this fight. Don't forget, Chompromp's already taken serious damage from Nightmare, although I'm pretty sure I just saw one of Nightmare's chains come off there. Yes, I did. Now remember, those chains are made in Canada because Nightmare is definitely Canadian. Do not forget the fact that Nightmare is definitely Canadian. It also might be its last time in the LEGO Wars arena. They were thinking about retiring at the end of this series and they wanted to go out in one more blaze of glory potentially, and this could be it, although they're already suffering serious damage. One of the receivers, look, is hanging off the rear of the machine. They've also taken damage to a chain. Chompromp, meanwhile, I don't know who caused that damage. I think it might have been Chompromp. Chompromp were meant to be retired after this series, but after a relatively decent performance this series and in Champions, they've decided they want to come back for one more year, and Bolts is, well, it's Bolts, really. It's completely and utterly nuts, and this is exactly what we hoped for. A completely crazy, completely psychotic, completely mad, litter-filled fight of destruction. Bolts has lost both of its chain weapons, so he's just spinning madly for the sake of spinning madly at this point. Chompromp going for the pit release button, but can't quite seem to have the power to push it to get the pit to go down. Nightmare somehow is still going despite having its internals literally dragging out from behind it. How am I supposed to call this madness? It's absolute chaos as Bolts destroys the pit release button and does a little bit of a flick there as well. Oh yes, this was gymnastics. I'm sure you would have scored a good 6 for that one, Bolt. But this is robot combat. This is LEGO Wars. We want destruction, not flippity-floppitiness. Now they're right by the pit as it's gone down, courtesy of Nightmare. Chompromp, meanwhile, spinning madly as well. All 3 of these machines won one fight. Oh, in the main competition, Bolt isn't going to win this one, though. They are down the pit and out. All 3 machines wanted the chance to have one more dash of glory this series, and they thought, why not go against each other? And we're now down to just 2 machines. Nightmare, the Canadian Destroyer, versus Chompromp, which has definitely taken the more external damage, but the main damage really is that receiver hanging out the back of Nightmare. They've also lost the weapon chain. It's hard to argue really whose weapon's been the most effective out of the 2. I would have to argue Chompromp's. Control, you're joking, aren't you? And aggression, I'd say Nightmare has been the more aggressive because Chompromp's been running away, but they're stuck there on the edge of the pit, and I don't think they can get away from there, and they're down.
6.
And Chompromp have secured another victory under their belt. Well, that will give them a boost of confidence for next series. What a nuts fight that was. In a word, madness. Yeah, I think that just about cuts it out. Let's see. Nightmare took an absolute rollicking. Bolts just flailed around like an absolute nutter. Of course it did. Chompromp was surprisingly capable of continuing. In a word, madness. Yeah, I think that just about cuts it. So, let's see now. Nightmare took serious damage with its receiver being hanging out and its chain being ripped away. Bolts lost both of its weapon flails and, let's be honest now, just span around madly before throwing itself down the pit. Chompromp, meanwhile, took serious damage throughout, but they managed to maintain a sturdy presence in the arena, causing damage to both competitors before sending Nightmare down the pit. Well done, Chompromp.
It feels right that Chompromp earns another victory through sheer determination to outlast its foes. We'll let Anderson get back to his retirement as we move on to a penultimate fight of the 5th series, and it's our now ex-champions Tantrum with a chip on their shoulders as they take on their fellow Seems Reasonable Bots, the Twins.
Robot ears, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
Thank you once again, Anderson. Hopefully we will see you very, very soon. Our penultimate fight of the night is a seems reasonable clash between Tantrum, our former LEGO Wars champions, and the Twins, the rookies coming into LEGO Wars Series 5, and just a bit of friendly fire there from the Twins. Tantrum, of course, knocked out in the play-ins by Waddle D Meta after an abysmal title defence, really, wasn't it? It was probably the worst title defence in all of LEGO Wars history. The Twins made it all the way to the round of 32. They were knocked out there by Pegasus, as you can see in the background. Look at Sean. Sean is currently driving, I think, asleep, but also, like, horizontally he's driving as well. He looks so unbothered. In the arena, though, currently we have the Twins and Tantrum has sustained damage from the Twins' weapons. They are pretty effective, those little vertical spinners, and there goes part of the front end armour of Tantrum. It's been a rude awakening, hasn't it, for Tantrum in LEGO Wars Series 5, and while it does look a lot better in this fight, it hasn't been smooth sailing at all, and I think the weapon has stopped once again on Tantrum. Basically just par for the course for their run of the year, isn't it, really? Because this has not been a very pleasant run over the last couple of months for Tantrum. The Twins here, the Clusterbot, the new robot on the block, looking pretty good thus far, although Tantrum, I think, still has the drive capability and potential to push the Twins down the pit, or maybe even just sweat it out and try and get a result that way. Good push here from Tantrum. Can they get one of the Twins down the pit? They can, if they're careful. Then one of the Twins have got two wheels over the pit. Can they get away from there? I think they're in trouble. That Twin caught on the lip of the pit. I don't think it's going to get away from there. The weapon is now spinning on the very lip. Can they get away? Tantrum having a look, and down goes one of the Twins. So that is 50% of the Twins eliminated and will be taken into consideration later on should we go to time. Tantrum, meanwhile, pushing the other Twin around the arena. More damage sustained to Tantrum's front end. It has taken a lot of beating, hasn't it, poor old Tantrum, in this series of LEGO Wars, although it has now stopped. Tantrum was high-centered on a bit of the Twins' face. Tantrum looking a lot more sturdy in terms of his drive in this fight, though hasn't been struggling to translate at all. Much more like the performances we used to from Tantrum. A big hit there again from the Twins has caused a lot of damage to Tantrum, and Tantrum now once again high-centered. I think on one side it's struggling to translate. In comes the Twin once again, the sole remaining Twin. Can it bring that weapon into great effect here? We are going to go to time between the two. There's no distinctive winner or clear winner between the two. Seems reasonable robots, or technically three, I suppose. Tantrum with a late push on the Twin that's remaining. We go to time, and we go to the judges between the Twins and Tantrum. I thought this was quite an evenly matched fight between these three, I guess. Tantrum managed to get a little friendly fire between the two Twins at some point. The weapon of Tantrum died pretty early on once again and did take some punishment, didn't it, Tantrum? But we did see glimpses of why they were LEGO Wars Series 4 champions. They were able to push one of the Twins over the lip of the pit and eventually guide them into the pit. Well, it kind of guided itself into the pit. And whilst it did take a lot of punishment from the other Twin, they were very effective and well controlled in this fight.
And the winner, by unanimous decision, is Tantrum. Well, at least the former champs seem to be turning a corner on their drive problems as they put their siblings in place, leaving just one more fight tonight. Before we move on to our final fight, I would like to take a moment to reflect on the robots who have fought with us over the last few years that are either scaling back to just the specials or have bowed out altogether. As those machines join their predecessors in the retirement home, we have one more fight tonight, and well, we couldn't finish recording without bringing back the cursed triangle of LEGO Wars as Mastiff is back to settle an old score against Sweepy. Let's end on a good one, lads.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have an actual grudge match in our grudge match episode, and it is between Sweepy and Mastiff. This is currently the third meeting between these two. Mastiff, of course, infamous for LEGO Wars for totally normal reasons. Sweepy, of course, the channel mascot, the series mascot, one of the very, very favourites in the series, and there goes the entire side rail of Mastiff, and there would you believe that the score is currently 2-0 between these two? I wouldn't on the evidence of this. Mastiff has been absolutely disintegrated on that sort of right-hand side of the robot. Mastiff gets the pit ban activated. Can they pull another surprise off against Sweepy? I'm not on the evidence of this. It's just been torn apart once again. It's been disemboweled, look. It was hit on the inside of the chassis, just kind of ripped apart, and look at the state of it! There's nothing left of Mastiff! But can Mastiff maybe guide Sweepy towards the pit? I wonder. There's still a chance. Still on. Good push here from Mastiff. We are now losing the central camera. It's run out of battery. Apologies for that, viewers. Mastiff trying to do something. I have no idea what Mastiff's trying to do. Sweepy is now stuck, though, on one of the panels of Mastiff. It's not necessarily the way. There's nothing left of Mastiff. There's nothing left of it. It's just wheels and a panel. There's just nothing left of it. This is the way Mastiff deserved to die. It really is, isn't it? Absolutely shredded, destroyed. This is cathartic, I'm sure, for Sweepy, but there's just no resemblance of the robot that came into the arena. Mastiff completely destroyed, and maybe this truly will be the last time we see Mastiff in LEGO Wars, because it's been absolutely torn apart. It is still functioning, technically, so if Sweepy makes a mistake here, they would lose, because Mastiff is still translating just about, but I don't think there's any danger of that. No, there's not. Mastiff holding on for dear life, or what's left of Mastiff holding on for dear life. Sweepy nudging Mastiff. Is it in the pit? I think we can categorise it as in the pit, although most of the robot isn't in the pit, but the brain of the robot is, and Sweepy's going to go in with it as well.
6.
Well, that is a brilliant fight, and a worthy way to end Mastiff's LEGO Wars career, I think. Well, despite the old dog's best efforts, they could not cope with the enormous firepower of Sweepy. And look at that. I mean, that was just brutal damage, wasn't it? Ripped apart right from the get-go. Another big hit here. Takes out the weapon as well. Mastiff, whilst it has been a cursed object in the LEGO Wars arena over the years, it has provided some great moments, some great entertainment, and some good fun, especially in this fight. Completely, just completely torn apart. This broke me at the end, by the way. Sweepy, you're worthy winner.
The cameras may fail, the footage may be bouncing around, but at least Sweepy runs over Mastiff to draw a close to the 5th series of recording. As I said after Slammo's triumph, a massive thanks to everybody who has helped out to get this series over the line, who can enjoy a well-deserved rest. It might be a while before LEGO Robot Action returns to the channel, but for now, I've been your host, David of Smeg, and take care, everybody.
from about just about ground level. Massive went from like I can see it to I can't see it.
Oh, that's a brilliant way
Oh,
to
so
end
It was utterly pointless, but very enjoyable. Have you stopped this already? No, I haven't touched it.
What a way to finish.
David,
Yeah,
what would you say if we told you this phone has run out of battery?
it would be very funny.
It actually has. I would imagine it did it while the action was down here, so you'd be using these anyway. But
I forgot to check my charge. Oh dear.
oh well.